Hi, I'm Nicole,
Hi, I'm Parie.
and we're here today to talk to you about some parenting. So we're going to start by introducing ourselves, and then we'll take you through a couple of different parenting models, one for younger kids and then one for teenagers.
Yes.
So I'm Nicole, like I said, and I am a licensed clinical psychologist and a certified play therapist.
Hi, I'm Parie. I am a child psychologist, and I work and do parenting with children and adolescents, and help with parents with different issues that might come up along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here today to talk to you about different things that you can do to help your children and help you guys get along better together.
Great, Parie. So we're going to start with some of the younger kids and give you just a parenting technique to use for kids that works, for kids starting around the age of like 2 to 3. Probably, actually, you could use this up and through teenagers, but it works really well with the younger kids, probably till about the age of 10. And we call this the ACT model, or ACT. Do you want
Right, and that's what that stands for is you acknowledge that the child's feeling first, you communicate the limit, and then provide an alternative, target the alternative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be really important because the child really needs to feel acknowledged about what they want to do. Even if it's a bad behavior and something you don't want them to do, they really need to feel like their feelings are being acknowledged, and then you still need to set the limit. But what's really important, right, Nicole,
mm-hmm.
is that we give them something else to do instead.
Mm-hmm. Right, Parie. And like you said, it's important to acknowledge their feeling because what we see in kids and when they're acting out is them communicating their feelings. So this is them trying to tell us something is going on with me. Hey, I'm feeling sad, or hey, I'm feeling angry, and I need you to notice and pay attention to me. So this model will help us say, hey, I understand what you're going through, and help them learn how to verbally express their emotions instead of using behaviors that we don't feel are appropriate.
Right. I'm really glad you said that, Nicole, because I think often as parents, you just really get frustrated and embarrassed. They're old enough now. They shouldn't be doing these things. And really, they're really just trying to gain your attention, maybe in a not so positive way. So this is going to be a really helpful way, quick, easy way for you to get your kids to do something different, something more positive, and to avoid that bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Right. And while we're avoiding bad behavior, we're also not stifling the child's expression of the feeling.
Yes.
So this works in multiple ways on multiple levels.
Not only will it help them stop the bad behavior and do something else, what it's going to do is strengthen that bond between you and your child, and you guys are going to get along better as well.
Mm-hmm. So, Parie, why don't you tell me a little bit more about what the A is for again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, in the ACT model. So.
Great. Yeah, I think that's going to be really helpful. So the A stands for acknowledging the child's feeling. So do we want to go into an example? I think that might help.
So we could take a good example. Sometimes kids like to hit sometimes. And a lot of times they're hitting because they're angry or they're frustrated.
Yes.
So it's important, number one, acknowledge what is happening for them. So I notice that you're feeling very angry right now. The next step is communicate the limit. So this is when we want to let them know what they're doing that we don't want them to do anymore. Such as?
Okay, I'm not for hitting.
Right.
Yeah, that's a simple and clear way of showing that limit. Right, people? They're right. They're not for hitting. So that's going to be a really easy way to tell your child.
And then the last step, which is T, target an alternative. Give them something else they can do instead of the behavior we don't want. So instead of hitting, what do you feel comfortable giving your child to do to express that feeling of frustration or anger? Some things may be, you can scribble really hard on a piece of paper instead.
You can go ahead and hit that pillow. Right.
You could throw a ball at a wall outside. So there's all different ways that we can give a child to express their feelings of frustration and anger that are more appropriate than hitting or spitting or whatever it is that they do when they get upset. So Parie and I would like to show you how this works all together. So
great.
Parie and I are going to do a role play, and we will be a therapist and a child, and we'll show you how this model can work.
Great.
Okay?
All right. So now I'm going to shift into being a child. All right.
Okay, Parie, I see that you've chosen to play with those dolls. Oh, those are dolls. No, they're all just on top of each other. Parie, dolls are not for throwing. We don't throw the toys in the playroom. If you could, play nicely with the toys. But if you're feeling very angry right now, which it seems like you're frustrated with something, maybe you could actually tear up that piece of paper if you want to. That might help you feel better. There you go. Okay. All right. So another example might be. Oh, Parie, we've got the markers. I like markers too. We could do lots of fun things with markers. Oh, Parie, I see that you really want to draw on me right now, but I am not for drawing on Parie. I'm sorry. But if you want to draw on something, you can color on this paper, and maybe you and I could color together instead.
Okay.
There you go. Isn't that much better? All right. I really like your picture, Parie. Okay. So in those examples, you can see how Parie wanted to throw toys because she was angry, or just for whatever reason she wanted to color on me. Maybe there isn't any reason at all. Maybe there isn't always a feeling involved. And in those instances, we can just express what her want was, and her want or her need was to color on me, and I'm just not for coloring on. So we expressed her want or her emotion. I let her know what was not acceptable to do with me. Throwing toys is not okay, and coloring on people is not okay. But what she could do instead with her emotions or with her wants. So she obviously wanted to color, so she could color on paper. And she was obviously feeling anger, and to kind of get out some of that frustration, I gave her an activity that might help with some of that frustration, such as ripping up paper.
Yeah, I found that really helped me calm down. So
sometimes things like that can feel really good.
Right, yeah. We all have times where we might feel a little bit out of control. So having a healthy way to feel better instead of that unhealthy way is going to help all of us out.
So that's the ACT model. Again, it's something very easy to use with almost any type of behavior that you see. And again, it's acknowledge, communicate, and target the alternative. I suggest when using this, you may have to use it a number of times, but please just be consistent and keep going, and you will see a change.
Nicole, what do you think happens if the child all of a sudden just gets really mad, really violent right away, and is doing something that's really bad, and you have to immediately step in? How could we shift the model around then?
Sometimes you may need to target or communicate the limit first and target the alternative before you acknowledge the feeling. Sometimes, safety issues come first. And while it's important for the child to feel heard and understood by acknowledging what they're going through, we need to, in those cases, stop the behavior immediately by communicating what the limit is. People are not for hitting. It is not okay to hit me. And then you can say, but I know you're feeling angry right now, so this is what you can do instead.
Because when you see something coming right at your face, it's important to acknowledge that feeling, and it's really important to stop whatever that is.
Right. You're right, Parie, because when something's coming straight at your face, the first thing you don't think about is acknowledging the child's feeling.
Right.
So it is
and
okay.
And that's completely natural.
Right. So it is okay to communicate that limit first to get the behavior to stop so you don't get hit in the face.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So that's sometimes I think that can be really hard, and you really want to just do something really maybe not so healthy, and this is going to really work as long as you use it consistently. It's going to be really good to know this model like the back of your hand, so you can do it like that.
Right.
Because just like kids do things just like that.
And it will take practice, so just keep at it. And like you said, consistency is important because what kids do is they test limits.
Yes.
So if you do it only once and then you give up, they're going to know that you're going to give up.
Yes.
But if you do it over and over and over again, they'll know that you're serious and they'll change their behavior.
Right. That's going to be really great. and then you'll have some relief so that when they go to school, for instance, they're going to know that these behaviors are unacceptable, and they're going to do the right things at school, so you won't really need to have as many reports coming home from school either.
Right, Parie. Yeah. So when mom or dad isn't with them, they'll continue to do what they need to do because they've been taught what they need to do.
That's going to feel really good to the child. I mean, even as much as children really want to test the limits, they really need those limits and that structure in order to feel safe, heard, and feel like they know what to expect next. So it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the ACT.
That's the ACT model.
Welcome to Elements Therapeutic Massage at the Gateway Center. We offer a therapeutic massage, which is where we combine the different massage modalities. This is to create a customized experience designed to address your specific needs. Everyone here at Elements believes in the health benefits of a regular massage regimen. That's why we offer a flexible, affordable, non-binding wellness program that you can even share with someone you care about. We're open 7 days a week, so give us a call and book an appointment or visit us at our website. Thank you, and expect more from your massage.
Welcome back. I'm Nicole, and I'm here with
Parie.
Hi, I'm Parie. And we are talking to you about parenting. In case you missed our last segment on the ACT model with younger kids, you can check it out on the website. But now we're going to talk to you a little bit about parenting with teenagers. So Parie, I know that you have a lot of experience in working with teens and families
Yes.
in the therapy setting. And so I was wondering what, sometimes teens can be just really difficult. So do you have something to help with teenagers?
Yeah, I do, Nicole. Thank you for bringing that up. I think it can be really hard once they get to be about 12, 13. There starts to be some really strong emotions that start coming up, and those can be really confusing and difficult for parents to manage. They're not sure what happened to their sweet little angel. What happened to them? And how do I handle this? Because all of a sudden they're like a different child. And I hear that so many times. And you're not alone. This really does happen quite a bit. So I think one really simple skill I'd like to go over today is negotiation and how to do it properly. And also within that, using positive communication skills. So, and that's going to really help to acknowledge the teen, acknowledge what they're going through, and at the same time, set those limits and make sure you are comfortable with what you're giving into and you're not getting run over by that teen.
So, Parie, is there anything else that you want to add about why using negotiation is good for teens or why it's important?
I would like to. Thank you for bringing that up, Nicole. Negotiation is really important for teens because, they're kind of in a weird spot. They're not adults yet, but they're not really kids anymore, right? So they're kind of like a mini adult, but kind of like a child still, as you know, in some aspects. And so it can be really hard for them to really communicate what they need. They really want some more independence. They're not really ready for a lot of independence yet, but they do need to feel like they're making some choices. They have some type of control over the decisions that are being made in the household. Now, that doesn't mean they get to decide everything. That does mean that they have some type, they feel like they're contributing something to the dialogue. They don't feel like just whenever they ask for something, it's no. So that's why negotiation will give them a little bit of control, a proper amount based upon their age and based upon what you believe as the parent, because you really know your child best, right? So that's going to be really important for you to feel that way, and even through all this turmoil and angst as they're going through this. But this negotiation is going to be really important for the teen to feel like, you know what, I have some type of control over this decision-making process.
Right.
Yeah.
Because teens are really sick of always being told what to do. And then when they just get told what to do, it kind of makes them a little bit more irritable or frustrated, and then they just shut down and they stop listening altogether.
They sure do, Nicole. I mean, and then what do you do? Because then they're so closed off and they're stonewalling you, and what the heck are you supposed to do then? So let's try and help that from happening by using negotiation.
So, Parie, in my experience, a lot of my parents and teens complain about curfew. Kids just want to stay out till all hours of the night.
Yes.
They never want to come home, and parents don't want them out very late, and they have a hard time coming to an agreement. Going out with friends and curfew seems to always cause arguments.
It really does. Yes. I've heard that time and time again. So what we're going to do is kind of practice. We're going to show you guys about kind of what kind of typically happens without using negotiation first, and then go over the negotiation skill.
So typically kids are going out with their friends and maybe going to parties or whatever kids are doing these days around the age of 16. So I'm going to go ahead and portray a 16-year-old daughter.
All right.
And Parie will be my mother. Okay. Mom, there's this party I want to go to on a Friday night with all my friends. It's like the biggest party of the year. So I'm going, and everyone is staying out late. So I'm going to come home at 1 o'clock because that's when it's going to be over. And then my friend Jennifer is going to drop me off when it's over at 1 o'clock. Okay, Mom?
You can't just tell me that you're going to go, okay? I'm still the parent here, okay? You don't
Mom,
get to just stay out till 1 o'clock.
All my friends are going.
Yeah, I know all your friends are going, but you're not your friends.
Mom, they don't get to stay out late. I'm going to look like the biggest nerd, Mom. Don't you want me to have friends?
God. You know what? You're just not going to go then.
Mom, that's
You're not going to go.
fair.
No, that's the end of it.
Mom.
That's the end of it. That's it. Go to your room. Okay. All right. Now back. We're back. And as you can see, that didn't go so well. And what happened was, I mean, I don't know how you... Talk to me about how you might have felt.
Very much like Mom just wasn't hearing what I had to say, wasn't understanding how important this was to me, wasn't understanding my feelings about any of this.
I see.
Like, she didn't listen to any of it. All she could just... It was just like an automatic no, and I was just completely shut down and... like, had no chance of even going to what I wanted to do.
Right. And so what would be important to you would be to be heard.
Right. For Mom to understand what it was like, or what it's like for, me as a teen to have these friends, and how important my friends are. And so I can hang out with them and not be a laughingstock at school because my mom doesn't let me do anything.
Right. And I think my experience as the parent, the mother, was just feeling like, oh my gosh, here she goes again, just demanding things from me, and she's not going to be safe. I'm worried about her, and this is a big party. I don't know if she's ready for this yet. I don't know if she's ready to be out till 1 o'clock. So these are all the stressful feelings that are going through my body, and you know what? A lot of times what parents do, which is totally understandable, and what people do, when they're faced with something that's really scary and they don't know what to do, they just say no, because that's the easiest thing. There's not going to be any danger if you don't go to the party, so that's just going to be easier. I wasn't sure really what to do because I felt very worried. I felt that she wasn't going to make good decisions. She kept talking about how her friends are making all these choices, and, well, what about her? She wasn't showing me that she was really responsible. So what I think I needed to hear was something like, I really want to stay out, and I feel... but I know what to do. I know what we've talked about. And so I felt like she would be safe. I needed a cue, some type of signal that she would be safe. So this is going to lead right into the negotiation. Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
So, right, Parie, so why don't you walk us through kind of how we would, teach the negotiation typically and what it might look like, the steps that you kind of would take. Yeah,
sure. So negotiation, Negotiation can be applied maybe to many things, not just with teens and parents. I mean, maybe if you can think of going to like a car dealership or something like that, you try to negotiate your price. So, but let's face it, if you negotiate a price and you want to suddenly get a really low price, the car salesman is not going to want to just give you that price because what is he going to get out of it? He's not going to get his high commission or whatever they get these days. I'm not sure. He's not going to, so he needs to get something from it, and you want to get a lower price. So you guys have to somehow meet in the middle, that each of you are getting something that you want, and something that's important to you, something that's really important to you. So with negotiation with parents and teens, things like we're just talking about, things that are important for parents is that the child's going to be safe, that the child isn't going to make really dumb decisions, that they are showing some semblance of responsibility. So that's going to be really important to parents, and that's kind of how I felt in that interchange that I didn't really, that didn't sound like you were saying that. And then the teen, what I wasn't giving the teen was showing that I understood her feelings, showing that I really, right, you didn't feel like I understood your feelings. You didn't feel like you weren't getting anything from it.
Not at all.
Not at all. So, and that's because even though my fear was really getting in the way of understanding my child. And because I didn't know what else to do. I think that happens quite a bit. So with negotiation then, you kind of start with, okay, so maybe we can go through it with the curfew. Okay. So you brought up already, you wanted to stay out until 1 o'clock.
I want to go to a party, and I want to come home at 1 o'clock.
Okay, I know. It sounds like this party is really important to you.
Mom, it's like the party of the year.
Yeah, and it sounds like you really want to feel like you're included, you're part of the group.
Mom, everyone's going. Yeah. If I don't go, I'm going to be like a nerd. I want to have friends.
I know it's really important for you to go. And the thing is, 1 o'clock is too late.
Mom, all my friends are going to stay out till 1.
I know. I know all your friends are going to stay out till 1, and that's just past your curfew. You know what your curfew is. And I understand this is a one-time thing with this one party, and your curfew is usually 11 o'clock.
Mom, 11, that's so early.
I know.
The party's really going to be barely started. How about, Mom, come on, 12:45, Mom.
Okay, well, I thank you for giving me a little bit, but 12:45 is still too late. I know that this party is so important to you, and it sounds like, this is a really big party. And I just want to make sure that you know that, I know there's going to be a lot of drinking there and all those sorts of things, and you know what the rules are.
Mom, you know I don't do that.
Okay. Well, if I know you really haven't come home anytime in a drunk state or anything like that, so...
Mom, and I never break curfew, Mom. I'm always following the rules.
You're right. Okay, so instead of 11 o'clock like usual, I'm willing to go up to 11:30.
How about 12:30?
I know this is so important to you, and I know that this is such a big party. It's like the end of the year, it's like the end of the school year, and you realize the last time you're going to see, some of those seniors that are graduating. I know that's some of your close friends. And I really need you to come home because the next day, we have those plans, and I need to make sure you're going to be awake for those and make sure you can get up in time and get those chores done that we talked about. And you're usually really good about doing that stuff, and I'm just worried that if you stay out so late, you're not going to be able to get those done.
I don't know, Mom. 11:30 is really early.
Okay. The last straw. Okay. I'm going to give you 11:45.
Fine.
Okay.
Hopefully Jennifer will just leave with me so I'm not the only one that has to leave early.
Yeah, and then you guys are really close friends, so hopefully you guys can just come back, and you know what, how about she can stay over too that night with you, okay? And then you guys can talk about the party and all that stuff when you guys get there. At least you'll be home.
Okay, Mom.
Okay?
11:45, I'll be home.
Okay. All right. So you can see, how did you feel during this interchange? I just want to get a few of your feelings out.
Better. Like, you know, Mom actually listened. She didn't just say no right away. Even though I didn't get what I wanted, she still, helped a little bit, and she still kind of gave a little bit. And so, it felt much better.
Yeah, because this is kind of like her first big party, so I'd like to give her a little more leeway. But, you don't want to give too much leeway because then, they're gonna want to maybe get some more time later on. So you kind of got to save that for later. Right.
They're going to want to walk all over you later, right?
They are. They're going to, exactly. Give them an inch to take a mile, right? So you have to be really firm. And because I made it very clear to her this is a one-time thing. And she knows what her curfew usually is. She's always on time for her curfew. And those are the things that are in the back of my mind. I went over the drinking with her because that's really important to me. I wanted to make sure she was safe. She mentioned to me she doesn't do that stuff. So, and I had never seen any evidence that she had been. Who knows? But I felt like I could trust her. And the way that we were interacting made me feel like she was going to make some good choices that night. And so I was going to let her stay out a little later than her curfew. Just for this one night, and then we're going to go back to the curfew in the future.
So, Parie, what I heard you saying is that even, as the mom, even though you went to the 11:45, which was, you set an ultimate limit.
Yes.
You knew for yourself, I'm not going over this. This is my limit. This is what I'm comfortable with,
Right.
and anything over this would make me uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes, because that's going to be really crucial. I'm really glad you brought that up, Nicole, because you don't want to give in too much and when you feel like you're not comfortable with it, because that's your gut instinct of your parent telling you that's the parent inside you telling you that this is not going to be good. This is going against my parental instincts. Those instincts have served you well so far, so it's good to listen to them. So that's going to be really important to, when you feel like, nope, that's it. That's what I'm not comfortable with. That's going to be great. The other reason it's not good to go over that limit of where you're comfortable is because you go over that limit of where you're resenting, maybe potentially developing some feelings of resentment. That's going to bring down that relational quality between you and your teen, and that's not going to go over so well. So that's why negotiation is going to work out really well, and there's going to be different ways you can do it, different things you can use it for. This is just one example of how to use it for curfew.
Parie, I really liked this negotiating. I really liked how it felt, and I really, like everybody kind of got what they wanted, and everybody was happy in the end.
And that's how it can be with you and your teen. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Parie, for sharing the negotiation.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yes.
Had a lot of fun. Okay, so, this is a segment about the negotiation with teens, and I think I would really like it if you guys could come back next time for some more tips about how to manage those difficult teenage angst moments and those difficult teenage anger and all those things that are really hard to handle.
Right, because we all know that there's a lot going on with those teens, and there's a lot that can be done with them to have healthy, happy relationships with our teenagers,
and how those might evolve over time. Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you
thank
next
you for
time.
coming.